Another nameless dive bar on the edge of the galaxy. The kind of place where the drinks were strong enough to fuel a starship and the regulars had more body parts than sense. Jack leaned back in his seat, boots up on the table, flashing a cocky grin at his alien crew. "I'm telling you," he slurred, waving his drink for emphasis. "There ain't a woman in this galaxy I can't charm." Across the table, Rilo, his reptilian engineer, choked on his drink. "Jack, you barely charmed your way out of paying for the last round." Jack ignored him, rolling his glass between his fingers. "I'm serious. Give me any female, doesn't matter the species, the size, the appendages. I got the magic touch." The table erupted in laughter. His crewmates were a diverse mix of alien misfits, all sharing the same look of amused disbelief. "Any woman?" barked Goreke, a hulking, four-armed bruiser. His tusks gleamed under the dim neon lights. "Even Zyra?" The laughter stopped. The air got heavy. Even the bartender hesitated while cleaning a glass. Jack blinked. "Zyra who?" Goreke grinned like a bastard. "Zyra the Huntress. You know, Zyra the God Slayer, Zyra the Bone Collector, Zyra the apex of the apex predators." "Yeah, okay, I get it." Jack waved him off. "What, she got a bad attitude?" The bartender snorted. "More like a body count in the thousands." "Thousands?" Jack whistled. "Hot damn. Sounds like my kind of challenge." "You're insane," Rilo muttered. Jack leaned forward, eyes gleaming. "What's the deal? What makes her so dangerous?" Goreke chuckled darkly. "She's the galaxy's top predator. She hunts for sport. No one fights her and lives." Jack considered this for all of 2 seconds. Then grinned. "So what you're saying is, nobody's ever tried to seduce her instead?" Rilo groaned. "Jack." "No." Goreke grinned. "Jack." "Yes." The table shook with laughter, but Jack was already sold. He threw back his drink and stood, adjusting his jacket. "All right. Where is she?" Rilo smacked his forehead. "You're really doing this?" "Rilo, buddy, some men are born to greatness. Others have greatness thrust upon them." He winked. "I prefer to thrust myself into greatness." Goreke clapped him on the back, laughing. "Oh, you're about to get thrusted, all right." The bartender jerked a thumb toward the VIP section, where the lighting was even dimmer, the air heavier, and the atmosphere screamed certain death. There she was. Zyra. 7 feet tall. Built like a war goddess sculpted from raw carnage. Her armor looked like it had been carved from the bones of something big enough to make a grown man cry. She had predatory eyes, scars that told stories, and a smirk that could mean murder or something far worse. Jack straightened his jacket, ran a hand through his hair, and took a deep breath. Then, with all the confidence of a man who had no idea what he was walking into, he strode toward her table. His crew silently started placing bets on how fast he'd die. Jack slid into the seat across from Zyra like he belonged there. He didn't. She looked up, slowly, golden eyes glinting like a predator who'd just scented prey. Her fingers drummed against the table, claws, he realized. Big ones? He resisted the urge to gulp. "You're either very bold," she said, voice like a blade against stone, "or very stupid." Jack grinned. "Lucky for you, I'm both." Silence. Then, to his utter shock, she huffed out a small chuckle. "I assume you know who I am." "Zyra the Huntress. Apex of the apex. Bone Collector, God Slayer." He waved a hand. "You got a lot of names, sweetheart. But I think you're missing one." Her eyes narrowed. "And what name would that be?" He leaned in, lowering his voice like they were sharing a secret. "Mine." Her brows lifted slightly. Not anger. Amusement. Interest. Jack pressed on. "See, I've noticed something. Most guys who come up to you, they're here to fight. I'm here to flirt. And I think you've never had that before." He smirked. "So how about a challenge? You try to intimidate me, I try to seduce you. Let's see who wins." Her smirk was slow and razor sharp. "And what happens when you lose?" "Depends. How sharp are those claws?" She laughed, low, throaty, dangerous. The kind of laugh that usually came before someone got disemboweled. "You're interesting, little human. I think I'll play along." Jack relaxed slightly. He was still alive. Good sign. Zyra leaned forward, resting her elbows on the table. "Do you know how my species selects mates?" Jack shrugged. "Can't be worse than human dating." We test their endurance. Jack's grin widened. Baby, I can go all night. Her smile turned predatory. I doubt that. Then she stood. The entire bar seemed to shrink. Even Jack had to tilt his head back to meet her gaze. You challenged me, she said, cracking her neck. And in my culture that means you must prove yourself. Jack blinked. Wait, was that a literal challenge? I thought we were. She grabbed him by the collar and hauled him out of the seat. Oh, he muttered. This is happening. Behind him, his crew erupted into laughter. Rest in peace, dumbass, Rilo called. Jack would have flipped him off if he wasn't being dragged toward what looked suspiciously like an arena. Jack hit the ground hard, rolling to a stop in the center of a massive arena. The floor was cracked stone, the air thick with the scent of blood and something distinctly reptilian. Around him, a roaring alien crowd jeered and placed bets. This was not a date. Zyra stood at the opposite end, arms crossed, watching him like a scientist studying an interesting new specimen. Jack groaned, pushing himself up. Not exactly dinner and drinks. Zyra smirked. You wanted to court me. This is the process. She gestured to the gate behind her. Survive 3 trials, and I may consider you worthy. He dusted himself off. Define survive. The gate slammed open. A war beast the size of a starship engine lumbered forward, all muscle, teeth, and way too many eyes. It let out a roar that rattled Jack's very soul. Ah, he muttered. That kind of survive. The beast charged. Jack did the only thing he could, ran like hell. Dodging left, he barely avoided being turned into human paste. The crowd roared with laughter. Zyra watched, amused. Jack needed a plan. Something smart. Clever. Tactical. Instead, he grabbed a discarded spear, turned, and yelled, HFY ugly! Before hurling the weapon directly at the beast. Oh. That was its crotch. The creature let out a shriek so high-pitched, the entire arena winced. Jack blinked. Huh! That actually worked. The beast collapsed, whimpering. The crowd was dead silent. Then, all at once, they erupted into cheers. Apparently, fighting dirty was a valid strategy. Zyra's eyes gleamed with something Jack couldn't quite place. Clever, she admitted. But the next trial will not be so simple. Jack barely had time to catch his breath before the second gate opened. A vast lava field stretched out before him. The challenge was clear: cross it without dying. Jack eyed Zyra. You know humans don't come fireproof, right? She grinned. Endurance, remember? Jack exhaled, shaking out his limbs. All right. Let's do this. Then he sprinted. Heat seared his lungs, sweat pouring instantly down his back. He leaped from rock to rock, narrowly avoiding molten death. Midway through, an alien competitor lunged at him, shoving for dominance. Jack, exhausted and annoyed, did the only logical thing. He grabbed the guy's waistband and yanked. The alien yelped as he tripped and face planted directly into the lava. Jack winced. Well, that's unfortunate. The crowd loved it. Burnt, panting, and questioning his life choices, Jack finally reached the other side. Zyra was waiting, arms folded. You are more resourceful than I expected. Jack wheezed. Babe, I am dying. She smirked. 1 trial left. The third gate opened. Another warrior stepped out, massive and armed to the teeth. Jack sighed. Of course. Zyra leaned down, her breath warm against his ear. Defeat him, she murmured, and I will personally reward you. Jack straightened. Well, why didn't you say so? The fight began. Jack barely had time to react before the warrior lunged. He ducked under a massive swing, feeling the air ripple above his head. His opponent was a brute, easily 8 feet tall, all muscle and rage. Probably broke planets for fun. Jack, on the other hand, was very breakable. The crowd roared, eager for blood. Jack dodged again, barely avoiding a skull-crushing blow. His mind raced. He wasn't stronger. He wasn't faster. But he was human. And humans had a special ability. They cheated. He grinned. Hey, big guy, you ever play dirty? The warrior hesitated, just enough. Jack lunged forward and jammed a thumb right into the alien's eye. The brute howled, stumbling back, clutching his face. The arena lost it. Jack capitalized, grabbing the warrior's belt and yanking hard. The alien tumbled, hitting the ground with a thunderous crash. Jack pounced, pinning him down. Zyra watched, her gaze hungry. Yield, Jack panted. Or I start getting creative. The warrior groaned. I yield. A horn sounded. Jack had won. The crowd erupted. Jack pushed himself up, swaying on his feet. Zyra approached, eyes smoldering. You're reckless, she murmured. Jack grinned. You like it? She stepped closer, tilting his chin up with a clawed finger. I do. Then she grabbed him, hard, and threw him over her shoulder like a prize. Jack blinked. Wait, what are you? The crowd howled with laughter. Zyra smirked. Claiming my reward? Jack sighed, dangling upside down. I really should have seen this coming. The doors slammed shut behind them,